you're asking the question, is he as important as anyone? You could probably say he is the most important for how Jesse Marsch plays. It's a massive blow. You can't underestimate how big a blow it is.
This is Park the Bus with Stephen Caldwell, Kevin Kilbane and Luke Wileman.
Well, welcome back into Graham Leggett's for another week of Park the Bus, and this week the Wanderer returns.
It's great to be back, guys. I really missed you.
We did miss you.
We missed you.
We spoke about it. We felt like we were missing something, Luke, last week, didn't we?
It looked like he was missing us, didn't it? Playing darts in London, being at Stamford Bridge, being on the yellow wall in Dortmund.
Down in pints of Guinness.
Dortmund was incredible, guys. What an experience.
Yeah.
Being on that yellow wall was just phenomenal. Not for the game. We weren't in it for the game, but we were there before the game. And to see it empty is amazing. And then when you get there at the night time and it's packed.
The whole culture of German football is great, isn't it? It's how they do it, you know, in terms of it's about the fans, isn't it? All the clubs are 50-50 split still, aren't they? I think that's right. And
50+1.
Yeah,
so it's always in the favour of the fans.
And they keep ticket prices down. They make sure that there's a legacy going on for the future. It is amazing, isn't it, in Germany?
It's a great country to visit as well. They really are a football country. Great people, very welcoming. What a place.
What's the biggest thing about the atmosphere? Like, why is it so good?
It's just the way that it builds up in Europe, isn't it? It builds up to the game. You know, you get there 3 hours before and they're having a bratwurst and a beer and it's just getting busier and busier. So the anticipation grows and then the game starts and it's electric for 90 minutes. You know, it's unbelievable. And playing Athletic Club as well was amazing. They had some great fans. They were in the squares of Dortmund as well and adding to the atmosphere and just hits
There's
different.
not many better in Europe than Dortmund, though, is there?
I don't think so.
You know, big ones like Celtic, obviously you'd have, but there's teams like that that are iconic for the atmosphere that's created. Anfield would be another, and obviously the big ones like Barcelona, Real Madrid, whatever. But I think they could be right at the top of it, couldn't they, Dortmund?
Yeah. It's once you go there and you meet the great people, and the club are very accommodating and allowing us access to a lot of great things, you can't help but root for them. You've got that feeling. You want to see them do well because even though it's become a massive club and they've become very global, a lot of people we met were travelling to go and visit Dortmund or go to the game for the first time. But they still have this sort of like local feel. It's a great club. What an experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it, Kev.
Where's German football as well? Just when you were there, just in general, it's probably a bit of a general question for you, but did you get to speak to anyone around how they're feeling around the World Cup and what they're going to be, you know, where the squad is, I suppose, right now?
I think they feel good. I think they think they've got a bunch of players that can grow and get better. I don't know if they're going to win the 2026 World Cup, but they're certainly a nation that are producing players as they always did, and they feel like they're going to have a team that are very competitive in 26 and then maybe 28, 30
beyond,
be real challengers. You know, when you look at the age of some of these guys, and I've been watching a lot of Voltamade as well at Newcastle. He's a player, guys. They've got a lot of talent. It's just a case of trying to get it, you know, focused and in the right place for the summer. I think it might come a bit early, but what a place. Amazing people. The Germans are wonderful people. They really are. They're so accommodating and very welcoming, I would say. So we had a great few days.
There's something very special about a big football European city on a Champions League night or back then the UEFA Cup night. Like, the whole city is filled with not only the home fans but the away fans that have travelled as well, and it's just a very unique kind of day. Very, very different to if you go to a stadium on a Bundesliga day or a Premier League day.
And they were quick to tell us that it is different between domestic games and European games. And it's funny, I was going back into my childhood, and of course, as you guys know, I used to go to Celtic Park a lot and watch games there. And I remember, must have been 1990, 1991, so I'm 10, 11. Borussia Dortmund came to Glasgow and played Celtic, and it was a great team. Michael Zorc, Michael Rummenigge, Stefan Chapuisat. So I remember that vividly, Kev. What a memory it is to see a European team come and see these guys that, you know, quite frankly, were on a different level for the Celtic team at that time. And as we were going round the wonderful stadium, they have these murals, these sort of graffiti murals, and one was Chapuisat. I had to get my picture next to that one. I loved that guy, Swiss international. What a player he was.
Nice. Well, Good trip.
Yeah.
I'm glad you bothered to.
I'm glad I'm back. And I never got a haircut, and I heard you guys slag my hair again.
100%.
Just give me a break
figured
on
you
this,
would go and get your haircut.
That's what we thought. Luke said he goes back to Sheffield to see
know,
his
I heard
I
that.
said once. Not anymore. Not anymore.
So
you
we
know
Luke's
how
Luke's got a checkered history with hairdressers. We won't
you
get
know
into that.
you know how who
Yeah.
does my hair now.
Yeah, I do.
It's free. It's cheap. It's good. Okay, the big news coming out from a Canadian perspective this weekend is really, I mean, it's devastating for Moise Bombito and for Canada, really. What are we, 8 months or so out of the World Cup? Moise Bombito with a fractured tibia. Really, this puts his World Cup participation in jeopardy, doesn't it? And there's a huge knock-on effect there, because I think you could potentially say that Moise Bombito is as important to Canada's success at the World Cup as anybody else on that squad.
Yeah.
Because of not only the fact that he's their best defender, but what he does to those around him in terms of pulling them up a level.
Yeah, I think he's head and shoulders above any other defenders in the squad or available to Jesse Marsh to pick. So that's what makes him so important. And his rise has been so significant that the loss of Bombito, if it ends up being that, we don't know how long it's going to take, but he's certainly hampered playing in the World Cup. It's enormous, Kev. It's very concerning for Jesse Marsh because, to your point, look, he makes everybody else play better. So with him not being there, I think it really destabilises that back line, Kev.
I think the style of play that Jesse Marsh has as well, he suits that, doesn't he? Because he can play one-on-one. You're asking the question, is he as important as anyone? You could probably say he is the most important for how Jesse Marsh plays and how they squeeze together and balls that's played back over the shoulder, and Bombito with the ground that he can make up, the pace that he has. It's a massive blow. You can't underestimate how big a blow it is. We've covered the team for such a long time now, and even the last couple of months, without Alphonso Davies, Alistair Johnson missing, Eustachio missing for one of the 2 games, I think Bombito, out of all those players, genuinely is the biggest miss for how. Because I know that the most high-profile player is Alphonso Davies, but Alphonso Davies hasn't played well in a Canada shirt, in my opinion, for such a long time now. He's not had a huge impact, whereas Bombito, every game, and just to your point there, about how he makes other players better around him, he's brought Derek Cornelius on, he's brought Luke de Fougerolles on, whoever's played alongside him, they look so much better playing alongside him. The team looks so much better. So you can't underestimate. I'm sure Jesse Marsh is really feeling that one today. I think when that news or a couple of days ago, when the news came out that he had broken his leg, I think he'd probably feel that more than any other player.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. I don't know what you feel, but I think he'd feel that more than anyone.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you would say is that it's been a while now since Moise Bombito played for Canada anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want him at the World Cup starting 100% against the highest level teams. Other players have stepped up in the absences of everybody else who's got injured. It's been that next man in mentality, and they've stepped up to a point where they can go and get results in Wales, in Romania. So my only concern with Bombito is that when it comes to that biggest stage, have they got, I mean, Derek Cornelius, Luke de Fougerolles, Kamal Miller's brought into the squad now. They are nowhere near that level of Moise Bombito. Yes, they can maybe cope with an Australia on a Friday night in Montreal or a Romania, but when it gets to a World Cup and you're missing the best defender, I don't know.
It's tough,
Does that mean their chances are that much worse if it's de Fougerolles and Cornelius as opposed to Bombito and Cornelius or Bombito and de Fougerolles?
I think so, because he's that good, you know. And the other thing that, I mean, we don't know if he's going to miss a World Cup game at this minute. We know that it's in jeopardy, but what he is going to miss is the development that he needed this season.
Yes.
Because he's been getting better by playing at a higher level.
Because he's not the finished product either.
No, he needs development. We were expecting him to play every week and get that development. He's playing in a really good team. They're a Champions League challengers, let's call it, top 4 in Ligue 1. And now he's not going to have that. So even if he makes it, it's going to be a Bombito that's not at his best, you know.
If it's 4 months, 6 months, can he return? We've seen it with other nations.
He thinks he's returning if he gets fit in May and hasn't even played a league game.
I think it's that important. They have to pick him To give him an option, to give him the potential to play in that game.
It hasn't worked out. We've seen nations, and I'm thinking probably in my head, I remember England going back to Rooney and David Beckham with broken bones prior to a big tournament or a major tournament. And they've gone into the tournament, perhaps even been picked with the reasoning of missing maybe the first and second game and coming back for the third group game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work for the harmony of the team. The player himself is not quite up to speed. I think to do that, Stevie, I think that is a huge ask for him, given how this team plays and given maybe his relative experience and how big this is for him personally. I think that's a big ask.
But you only do that with vitally important players, and he is that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he's that important.
Yeah.
You need him.
Yeah,
if Canada are going to go to a knockout game and they might win a knockout game, I believe he has to be playing.
Yeah. Right, so if Canada, say Canada, let's dream, right? Canada gets to a knockout game.
They top the group.
They're playing in Vancouver in a round of 32, and you've included Moise Bombito in the squad after not playing since the first weekend in October, and he hasn't played a game. You start him in a World Cup game.
Well, obviously it depends how he's training, how he looks. But if he looks good and he looks like
he's not playing for
Bombito
Canada. And Jesse Marsch has spoken about the team's development and what they've been working on the training ground and everything.
But there's nobody that replaces him. There's nobody that compares to him.
Was it March last year? March this year, sorry, since he's played.
So if we're saying Cornelius is playing...
18 months almost, Stevie.
And it's De Fougerolles or Miller, or it's probably not going to be Miller because Cornelius is a left footer. So it's De Fougerolles.
Yeah.
Is there a comparison there between Bombito, again, if he's training well and he looks himself, he's in the team. You have to play him. He's that important.
I think it's a big gamble. I agree.
Mr. Race for the roster.
Yeah, I think it's a big gamble. I do, and it just comes down to himself. Stevie, you're a centre half. You know that way more than me. The centre half on the field they see everything. They're the leaders for the team. They set the tone really for the team. I know everyone thinks it's the midfielder, but I'm talking in general. The centre half that I would have played with control the game for you. They control everything. They kind of guiding the boys that's in front of them, where to stand, where to go, left, right, 5 yards that way. That's what Bombito will be expected to do when he comes straight back into the side. And that is a big ask.
But that's also why it's so important. Why he's so important to this team.
Yeah.
Like, I think you've talked about some of those players that come back in for game 2 or game 3, or they might be ready for the knockout game. Maybe you can take a few more liberties with an attacking player.
Yeah, I was just going to say
as player number 26 in the squad or 25 in the squad. We're talking
20 minutes or half an hour off
the
bench.
We're talking starting central defender.
He has to start if he's a defender.
You're unlikely to bring him in.
He has to start.
But I just think that he's going to be in that squad. You know, I know it's not confirmed that it's 26-man squad, but we assume that it's going to be that.
Yeah.
I just think he's that important that you got to pick him and see how he looks. Obviously, if he's looking rusty, he's not going to come in. But if he looks great and he's training well, and even if he hasn't played a game since October, there's every chance you put him in that team.
Yeah.
He's that important.
Yeah.
Okay, so Moise Bombito, and it's devastating for him and for Jesse Marsch. We've talked about just what he meant, Moise Bombito, to this team and to this group. So now the spotlight shines even brighter on Derek Cornelius and Luc De Fougerolles.
Yeah.
So you've got Luc De Fougerolles right now, who is playing in Dender, in Belgium on loan. They're the worst team in the Belgian league.
Yeah.
You've got Derek Cornelius, who now doesn't have a manager because it's gone so badly at Rangers that Russell Martin got fired.
Yeah.
In fact, that came after the game. I think it was Falkirk they were playing at the weekend, where Russell Martin had to be taken out of a different exit, and the Rangers fans wouldn't let the players onto the team bus after the game because they were so unhappy with the way things are going. So, not ideal for Derek Cornelius, although character building. You could probably describe it as
it's character building.
I don't know. Neither of them are in a situation where you go, oh, that's a great place for them to be in right now, 8 months from the World Cup.
Well,
are they?
No, not at all. But Cornelius has to step up now. It's really a lot of onus and pressure goes onto his shoulders because if Bombito's going to miss the World Cup, Cornelius is that dominant
Is he that
centre-back.
kind of a guy, though, to be that leader at the back?
Well, sometimes you just have to do things. You know, you
playing
have
for
to
a
grow.
club like Rangers in the position.
Yeah, he's got to learn it quickly.
He's got to step up.
Yeah.
The age that he's at, the experience that he's had, his experience in Marseille, played decent amount of games last year at Marseille. Now he's at a club like Rangers. He's going to win a battle with a new coach. Like, he's got to step up to the plate now. He's got to be chest out and be that dominant leader in the back line. It's an opportunity for him and for us to see if he's capable of doing that. If he doesn't, Jesse Marsch has got some big problems.
Yeah.
Because they need a character in the centre of that defence.
I'd take it a little bit further back from the centre halves as well. I mean, with the goalkeeping situation, that triangle again. You will talk about the spine of the team, midfielder. Yes, up top we know where they are. We know where they are in midfield, very strong. That little triangle and that uncertainty that's around those three now, it is a worry.
It's a problem.
And this is where we're going to keep having these debates around that.
There's no danger of Jesse changing, is there, in terms of his formation?
Not at all.
And because of this...
Three at the back, I can't see him going three at the back,
No, I can't either.
No chance.
It's an option.
I don't see it.
No.
In any scenario, three at the back.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, however he changes, however he changes.
Maybe
the
4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it.
Back.
Definitely four at the back.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's the best way, I have to say that. It might leave them exposed at times, but Canada to score goals and win games, four at the back. I always feel it's the better way to actually go and dominate a game. And that's what Jesse Marsch wants to do. He wants to be that counter-attacking style that we know that he plays, and to play that way, back four, it ultimately is the way to do it.
One man's disappointment is another man's opportunity. Like, what an opportunity for Kamal Miller as an example.
Joe Waterman.
Obviously, De Fougerol's now thinking, I could start.
Can I ask you one thing? I'm going
to
to throw one thing into you here, and it's been muted in the past, definitely with the three. We had Ali Johnson on a few weeks ago talking about you working with him when we were a back three. Could he play Ali Johnson as a right side centre half and put Segura in at right back? Would that make them stronger?
Not a bad shout. It wouldn't surprise me. Can he play in a back four?
Or Richie Larea, by the way.
Yeah.
Richie, in fact, Robin Fraser said
Compared
a few weeks ago he compared him to Moise Bombito.
Yeah. I mean, against a certain type of opposition where there's no real physical presence up top,
I'm thinking those options may be more likely.
Yeah.
Because of everything, because of what they... You've said it so often, Stevie, haven't you? And I think Luke even spoke about it as well. You have to get your best players into the team.
I always say it, Ken.
And as you say, one guy's...
disappointment.
So you said you won't change it, right, in terms of the scenario, but you could have a back three with Cornelius in the middle and Alistair Johnston, and you could have Richie Larea, and you could have Fonzie at left wing back, you could have Segura at right wing back, right?
Yeah.
Or
Tejan,
you're talking about Tejan, potentially...
3-4-3, I suppose you could do it.
Potentially Cornelius alongside Johnston as a four?
Yeah.
Instead of De Fougerol?
Potentially.
The president of the Luc De Fougerol fan club would rather have a right back playing.
No, I think Cornelius, if it were to be someone like Johnson and he did change it up and change that system, I think De Fougerol will be sacrificed at that, because unless he's outstanding in every single game to the end of the season.
He's playing on a back three for Dender, De Fougerol. I think he's playing on the left side, a back three, so he's getting different looks, different experiences, different formations. But I just think, and Kev made the point a minute or two ago, you have to try and get your best players in the team. And so when it comes to a first World Cup game, if there's a way that you can get Johnson and Segura and Larea within a team, maybe you play Alistair Johnston in the central position.
Does it also change, maybe, and I'm with you guys, I don't think there's any way Jesse Marsch changes to go to a three at the back. I just can't see that happening. But does it also change, maybe, that midfield role as to who, if you're concerned about no Moise Bombito...
There's a knock-on effect.
Is there a knock-on effect on Ismail Kone?
Yeah.
There really is.
Because you'd rather have...
Well, you need somebody more
Segura
disciplined. Or Saliba.
Yeah, or Saliba.
Saliba, you watched Anderlecht this week and didn't you?
Played great, looks disciplined, is playing in a system that's very much a protective central midfielder. So he got forward as well, so he can do both. We know Saliba can do everything. This is what I'm saying, things happen. There's instability in other people. You got to step up. You have to say, I'm not a kid anymore. It's my time.
And let's be honest, we knew this was going to happen. I'm not saying we knew it was Bombito, but we knew there would be...
We're going to get more of it, Kev. We're in October.
We will. We will get more injury issues now over Christmas. Certainly in Europe, the amount of games that teams play through that Christmas spell and into the new year, there will be injuries and there'll be doubts and there'll be... And I will go back to this. I think the most important thing for Jesse Marsch, the window, is that March window.
Yeah.
That when you know that's the window where you get the last look at all the last real look at all your players, and you've almost made your decision then, barring one or two. And if you've got injuries going into that window, the lads aren't involved. I think it's difficult for Marsch. He can make adjustments later on with certain players, but it's got to be someone at the very top, and that's where it comes down to.
I'll ask you this, Kev: if Canada have a good window in October and November with the players that you can select, will there be some kind of loyalty or trust in the players heading into March, do you think? Or if
Luke's got something to say on that
Davies
one,
is back or Bombito's coming back, you know, will they go right in, or will he think, no, a good thing's happening here, I'm going to stick with what I've been playing?
I think the Colombia game will tell us an awful lot about how good this team can be defensively.
Right.
I know Colombia haven't been flying, but you know, we saw them in Copa America. We saw the attacking pieces that they've got.
Yeah.
You're talking right now about a team that doesn't have a set number one goalkeeper, has lost its starting right back, probably not starting left back because you've got Alfonso further forward, but Moise Bombito as well, starting central defender.
Davies at the moment, he's still probably likely to play as left back in Jesse Marsch's mind.
We've never heard any different, have we?
No.
Going up against a Copa America finalist with all the quality that they've got, that's not an Australia. It's not a Romania or a Wales. And by the way, it's going to be full of Colombian fans.
Best team at Copa America, by the way.
Right?
They were the best team at Copa America.
I think we'll learn an awful lot about... I mean, if you throw in Defugirol into that environment, you've worked... I'm not saying he won't be able to do it because...
He steps up, doesn't he?
He steps up.
He does. He's got personality. You know, I've said it a lot, guys. He's just a player that... As we're talking about these injuries, I'm saying somebody's going to actually, like, step up and be better and be more. And it could be Defugirol because he has that personality.
Can he do it playing at Dender? Can he do it play... Like,
this comes back to this debate.
You watched that Belgian, the Saliba game, Anderlecht, at the weekend.
Not a great standard, and that's the top teams, Anderlecht and Standard.
Did he make the right choice? With what?
Well, you know what
8
I think
or 10
about that.
games
No,
in.
he should have stayed in England.
I feel as though, and I'll probably stand by it a little bit, not just because I'm just being stubborn on it, but I feel I've seen a lot of guys, even teammates of me, someone like John O'Shea, he went to Belgium before he really developed to Manchester United.
Yeah.
There have been players that have gone into that league and played football to get a year under the belt. So I still feel for him personally, for his
long-term
career development, yes.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to take your point more on the short term for Canada and where he is. It might not necessarily have been the best route for him, you know.
Bigger tests in England. It would have been bigger. He probably would have had to take in a League One club, and then maybe in January he might have got a Championship club, and then he's getting that step up. But I just feel like playing in England would have been a sterner test.
I'm just going to make one point here, just on this one, and I said we've covered Montreal this season. George Campbell has gone into West Bromwich Albion, and he's been playing at West Brom. He's been doing quite well playing for West Brom. I never saw George Campbell go in and being a Championship player, dominant. So I would say Luke Defugirol is a better player than George Campbell, personally. And I know he's so young, he's inexperienced. So he could have gone into a Championship club, but it's because when you go into the Championship, and I've said it to you in the past, it's so ruthless that given his age and his inexperience, he could have been discarded so quickly.
In the first game or two.
And then that's even at League One level, if he was to stay in England. So I think staying in England... I think ultimately would have gone against him. I do feel that because he would have always been sacrificed as that young player.
Just the final one on Moise Bombito. Do you think, I mean, it's been a horrible few months for him with just coming back from the injury and now to get another one as well. Does that play into how long this is going to take? You know, a mindset of a player after 2 injuries like this when you're coming back?
That injury was the same leg.
Same leg as a stress fracture, So you've got to take longer. You would think you're going to be more careful. But there is a World Cup on the horizon, so he's probably going to want to push himself. But
Nice have got
it has to heal.
A commodity on their hands as well. He was going to be worth big money. They brought him in for a reason, as we know, with a lot of development clubs like Nice and other clubs. They want to sell on. They want to strike. And there was a lot of clubs circulating that were prepared to take him for big, big money. So they have to protect him now, because if they think that they're going to get the true value out of him in 18 months' time, they have to look after him. They're only going to think of themselves. They're not thinking of Canada. They couldn't care less whether whether it's him personally that wants to play for Canada and he's desperate to play in a home World Cup, which he is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're not bothered about that. They are protecting their major asset, and that's all they're going to think about.
I know Stevie has him returning to training on the 1st of June and playing the Opener 10 days later.
Yeah,
I didn't say
but
that.
In the best case scenario, say he's getting back into some kind of training by the early spring.
Yeah.
We're looking at early March, okay? We saw with Tejan Buchanan, it can take a while to get up to full speed. Pep Guardiola even said we won't see the best of Rodri until next season.
Yeah.
He said maybe he's good.
Well, Rodri got
he's good by the time.
the weekend
right.
again, hamstring.
He's done
This was
hamstring,
before
he's
he
done his
said
back,
before the weekend. He
Yeah.
said it's going to be next
Gonna
year
take
before
time.
we actually get because he brought him off in one of the games after an hour. He's like, he has to be managed. It's not something where you can just come straight back in. So is it? I mean, I know you guys don't exactly move a lot as a central defender. So is it easier in that position? Is it easier in that position in terms of getting back up to 100%? Whereas a winger like Tejan Buchanan, you're up and down that right. Or are we still going to be looking at Moise?
The way that Marsh plays, though.
I know, you got to run.
Right.
You got to be high. And you got to.
So even if he came back in March, he's not going to be 100% Moise Bombito by June.
Yeah,
But
Van Dijk after his injury, you compared him to Van Dijk, Stevie, of course. So I think
famously,
famously,
or infamously.
But Van Dijk, who is the very best, took a while, a good while to get himself back.
But the question I'm asking is 70% Moise Bombito better than anybody else?
But
you have to play him.
Are we now saying there's no way he's 100% Moise Bombito at the World Cup?
Very unlikely that he's 100%.
Yeah.
Very unlikely, because as a centre-back or as any player, you probably need, what would you say, Kev, 10, 15 games at least before you're feeling like, OK, I'm comfortable in a match day. Yeah, because when you train, you think, oh, I'm at 100%, I can go into a game. It's nothing like it,
There's no
Kev,
way
is
that
it?
he can, after the back of this injury, there's no way that he can have a mini pre-season.
No.
You know, a 2-week real intensive training period. I don't think that's even possible for him.
Yeah.
So that's what leads me. It's highly unlikely. In my mind, it's highly unlikely.
Okay. Well, certainly a
Gutty
big
for the
blow.
lad.
Yeah,
I'm really gutted
exactly.
for the lad. I was keeping an eye on that game. I watched a little bit of it, and I was so excited. He was in the 11. I'm thinking, and I saw he came off, and I just hoped it was a decision with limited minutes because he's just coming back. And
I know.
I'm gutted for the lad.
But he's so good, and he has been so good. That's been the thing, you know, dominating. From that first game, when we first really saw him, you'd worked with him and you'd seen bits of him, but when Jesse picked him, we were all a little bit, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
And when he excelled in the games against Holland and France, particularly the France game, going into Copa, I think it was a bit nervous
Started
for
a
Copa.
bit nervy and then got better as it went on.
It goes back to your Luke Diffuser role. He steps up. He's always gone to that next level, and his development across Copa, and then off the back of it.
Motivation's a big thing for injury as well, though, guys.
Yeah,
I ruptured my adductor, when I was playing for Birmingham, and I knew we had a chance of making the playoff final. So it was a 12-week injury, and I had 6 weeks, and I was in the oxygen chamber. I was on the bike. I was doing everything because I wanted to play in that final.
Yeah.
We didn't make it. We lost in the semi, but I had that in my mind. So he's got to just say, OK, this has happened. It's 6 months or whatever comes out, and he has to focus on whatever he can do to be back. And when you've got a motivation like a World Cup, Kev, something's strong.
I had exactly the same. Honestly, I did my ankle against Man United playing the Premier League for Sunderland, and we had the World Cup playoff against Iran a month later.
Yeah.
Mine was a 6-8 weeker. It was a bad one.
Yeah.
And I played in the 2 Iran games.
Yeah.
And my ankle wasn't right.
After 4 weeks?
After 4 weeks, I had it
Just
so...
get through it.
I needed to play in that game. It was everything to me.
Yeah.
What happened, I played the 2 games. We played in Iran the second game in Tehran. I came back, played for Sunderland. Trained for Sunderland, did my ankle again.
Because it wasn't right.
It wasn't right.
Yeah.
So it shows what it takes for those big games and desperation to play in games. Yeah.
He's going to push himself, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Australia, we mentioned Colombia, and the huge test that will be. Australia first off in Montreal. After the last window, you look at this now and say this is another chance for Canada, isn't it? They should be.
It is.
Should they be beating a team like Australia at home?
I think it'll be pretty even, to be honest. And Australia need these challenges as well because of the region that they play in. They don't get so many competitive games. You look at their squad and it's not spectacular. It's not a group of players that play at the highest level, but they're all pretty steady. So I think it'll be a tough game for Canada.
And whatever you make of the rankings and how they've been done and who's in, they are ahead of Canada in the world rankings, 25, Canada 26. So it's a serious test in terms of where they are and another team out of their region. It's where we wanted to see Canada so often.
And one thing we said about Romania and Wales, maybe they weren't as competitive as they would be, but Australia will be competitive because they'll see this as a big opportunity to go take a scalp, beat Canada, especially at home in Montreal. So I think in that regard it'll be a great challenge. I don't know if it'll be a better challenge than Romania or Wales, but potentially it could be a more competitive game.
Yeah, and when you look at the different teams that they've played against, it's turning into good preparation for a World Cup. When you think Colombia's coming up from CONMEBOL, you've got Australia from a different federation, you've got Ukraine, Ivory Coast from different federations. You played European games as well. All good challenges for
I just think on Colombia,
Canada.
on the second one, Colombia struggled off the back. I think they were I said before, I think they're the best team at Copa America. They struggled off the back of it, but the last 4 games, they're at it again, Colombia. Colombia have gone right back into form again, and they are building towards a World Cup. That's the process, the way that it's been. They're a team that both you and I, Stevie, are going to be underrated going into the World Cup. They're going to be a side that maybe people won't know too much about. Do you see Diaz's goals at the weekend?
Great,
they have got one of the best. One of the best right now.
In the world.
When you look at that Australia squad and say it's pretty evenly matched, you look at the Canada squad and the Colombia squad, and it's nowhere close. In terms of the places
Canada are the underdogs, 100%. And although they struggle, like Kev said, in CONMEBOL qualifying, they are an outstanding team. And they'll think that they can go far in the World Cup. I don't know if they'll truly believe they can win it, but they'll think semi-finals for sure.
They've got a lot of players.
Potential.
We absolutely won't see anyone at the very best right now. They're obviously there in qualification. They've qualified. Colombia, they had to get over the line. There's a lot of players that's going to the end of their career, so it won't be the best Colombia, but it'll still be a top class Colombia side because there's a lot of those players that's on the periphery, and I always think, even back to myself, when in friendlies leading up to a World Cup, they almost become more competitive than the qualifiers because now it's real business. You have to make yourself in the mind of your manager that you are going to be picked. You have to be picked, so you've got to play well to be picked. You've got to be running through a brick wall for your coach and manager. This is what it comes down to. So Colombia are probably in that sort of bracket a little bit as well.
What about the World Cup and the ticket prices that came out last week, Kev? I know that as soon as the prices came out, Kev wasn't happy.
Kev was furious in the group chat.
He's been saving up all of his money to buy what he thought was to be a $200 ticket. And
I know this. You and many others weren't surprised. But if you look at ticket pricing for past World Cups and how it's gone off, it has gone up for every World Cup. This is a jump of
course it is, though.
Infinite proportion.
I'm not saying it's right, but no one should be surprised.
No other country in the world would accept it. There will be no other country in the world that would accept those ticket prices. So why should it be accepted?
But it's a FIFA thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a FIFA thing, but
you do think they're taking liberties because it's in North America?
Because it's in North America. Look, and we all kind of knew it was going to go this way. I didn't think it'd be the level it was in, if I'm being totally honest. I knew it would be high, but not that high. And there's so much wrong about the game. There's so many things we love about the game. Yes, there is. There's so many things we love about the game. But this issue has been a problem. You know, the corporate side of it and the tickets being pushed to people. Where is the legacy from this World Cup? Because there are a lot of Canadians who love the game. There are a lot of Canadians who don't have the finances to take their wife, kids to the game. Two or three tickets is so disproportionate to the family income in the house. And I know this is a wider issue.
True fans are not going to be at the game, are they?
True fans will not be. And I know, honestly, I live, as you know, an hour or two east of Toronto, in a place where you would think there would be not a lot of football, soccer, loving people. But everyone's talking about the game.
But Farmers Weekly, the magazine, sells out within about 2 minutes.
I live in the country, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of that.
How many chickens you got left now?
I've got a story on that in a minute, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. It's an amazing story.
Okay, carry on the tickets.
But everyone, honestly, my 2 daughters are in school, and there's so many people coming over to me talking. think, what about tickets? I'm in the draw.
Yeah.
I'm in the draw. I missed the first part of the draw.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on the second part of the draw to come out to see if I'm going to get tickets. And then the second draw's not come out yet, and then they see the prices.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I can't afford that.
Kev,
I can't afford it.
We didn't see the real fans in Qatar, did we? Maybe for different reasons.
Yeah.
But are we going to see the real fans in the US, Mexico and Canada? I don't think we are at a price.
You're saying those fans that walked around the souk singing those songs
used to change their shirts,
and they would
were
change their
Argentina,
jerseys, and then
the next hour they were the Netherlands. And
I
I
thought
don't
they
think
were all
so.
real.
Nah, I saw the same faces.
Look,
different fans.
look, we can have and I can say
I'm just saying, though.
No,
I'm just saying,
I know.
This is North American sports. Like, you want to go and watch a Blue Jays playoff game or a Maple Leafs game or whatever it is across this country or across the US. People pay exorbitant prices, way above what it would cost to go and watch. I could have, a couple of years ago, I could have got a championship season ticket for my kid cheaper than a Canadian Premier League season ticket.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're talking here about completely... Like,
but not everywhere, Luke. Not everywhere. There's
why?
areas
Listen, our game
North
is...
American sport that are supported well, and it's, you know, take college football as an example, American football, as we call it.
Yeah.
They get 100,000 fans, and it's, you know, it's the students, and it's it's in their area, and that's probably one of the best experiences that you can have in sport in North America. So I blame FIFA. It's FIFA's fault.
Yeah.
They should have protected at least a certain amount of these tickets for real fans.
Honestly, look, lads,
they want to make money.
I grew up in a different part of the world, right? I grew up in a different part of the world. We grew up with no money. The local team to me was Preston North End. I couldn't afford to pay, I don't know, I think it was about £1.20 in those days for a young kid to go and watch a game.
Yeah.
I was jumping turnstiles and crawling on the turnstiles, illegally getting into games to watch, waiting for the doors to open for the last 20 minutes of a game to go and watch them. I was obsessed with the game. Now, it was playing the game more than anything else. Luckily, that I was able to play on the streets with friends and all these sort of things. That's happening right across Canada now. That, you know, we're fortunate that we can get to watch games. There's so many that watch football and love the game that aren't able to get tickets for the game. So the legacy should have been about everybody in this country, about we're the game. We're our
Such
game.
a shame.
We're our game because it's our game. It's the world's game. So we're talking about Blue Jays in the playoffs. We're talking about, you know, the Leafs in playoffs. Our game's not at those levels. It's not. Football is not a capitalist view on the game. It's not. It's about everybody. Worldwide, globally, our game is about the man on the street or the boy and girl on the street that want to pick up a football and just kick it against the wall, put some two sweaters down and play it with a goal. That's what the game's about.
It's always been the most accessible.
I honestly, I can rant about this, and I would honestly, genuinely love to have Kevin Blue as head of Canada Soccer on here, and I'd want to chat to him, just talk to him about these sort of issues, about the game and the development, because there are so many players, soccer players in Canada that will never kick a ball. Maybe the best ever player or best ever Canadian soccer player never even picked up a ball and kicked it because of the expense that it costs to play the game here, and then this ticket pricing off the back of it. And I'm talking about my 5-year-old, 6-year-old daughter, my 8-year-old daughter now, that play the game, and I can't understand how expensive it is for at you know, kids level. I'm talking like what do they call it here, Luke? It's
house league.
House league. Playing house league. House league for my kids is outrageously expensive, and it should not be. There should be no cost.
I'm not saying that it is right at all. I'm just saying that the surprise about the prices. I saw this. You know, surely we saw this coming with FIFA. And a North American World Cup, that it was going to be outrageous.
Unfortunately, they might have protected some of the tickets, though, Luke. Made it accessible.
Legacy.
That would have been
the World
the
Cup
right
legacy.
thing to do.
It would have been the right thing to do.
10,000 tickets or whatever. An amount of tickets that were for like true fans.
But you're right. It's not just about getting fans into the stadiums. It's also about getting players to play the game.
Yes. That's what it's about.
You're talking about over $6,000 for a 13, 14-year-old to play in the highest league in Ontario. My U8s and U9s this year are going to be $3,600 for the year for each of them.
It's outrageous,
right?
Luke. It's outrageous. It doesn't happen in any other country in the world. That does not happen, and that's the problem that we're seeing. That look. I understand around how, you know, everyone's got to work and all the coaches have got to be paid, but it's a wider issue for FIFA, for Canada Soccer, on how money is filtering down into the game. And I've said it so often, kids should be playing for free until they're 14, 16, or however it's going to be. They should be playing for free.
I agree.
It has to be, because all our, as parents, and I'll just say this one thing, and it's another wider issue, right? So, at the end of the House League season, you get an email. You get an email from the club. If your child wants to play rep soccer, bring your child down for tryouts on this particular date. Right. Not knowing the talent on the player, no one knows the level of ability. It's just someone with the most amount of money
to be able to pay.
That can pay to have your child.
Yeah.
So the young kids are not being monitored in House League. I'm trying to coach my 5 and 6 year old child. You're laughing at me here.
No, I'm saying we could spend like
I'm trying to coach
5 years on this.
I'm trying to coach my 5 and 6 year old kid. At the end of every game, I have seen kids that my kids are playing like 3-on-3s and 4-on-4s and things like this. My daughters, and I'm seeing someone on the opposition side that's impressive. And they're only kids, so you're just watching them play. They can take a touch, they can pass, they can run at 6 and 7, whatever. And I'm thinking, he's not bad. So I'll go up to the coach afterwards and I'll go, your son's not bad, your daughter's not bad. You should maybe try and keep them involved in the game or whatever it would be. I should be the one that should be monitoring opposition. It's just like a scouting system. That's what happens everywhere else in the world. You're scouting the talent that's around you, and then you're making recommendations to other people. You should have a look at this boy. You should have a look at this girl. They're not too bad. That doesn't happen.
No.
How can that not happen, that there's no scouting structure?
The whole system is prohibitive to players, isn't it? You know, Moise Bombito and Jonathan David, these guys,
Alistair
they made
Johnson,
it.
Alistair Johnson even said a few weeks ago.
Even all those systems, like, not in their favour.
Even Alphonso Davies at one point was playing free football in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Free football.
Yeah.
Which that is not... That's a programme that should be wider across...
Should be everywhere.
Everywhere.
Should be in every province.
Everywhere.
But it's never going to happen.
But
it should be.
It should.
This is the legacy of this World Cup.
The athletes in this country,
happen.
Canada has so many great athletes. So football's not tapping into the real athletes. Like, as I said before, our game is so global. The amount of immigrants that's coming into Canada every year and the talent that's coming into the country, and it's not being picked up on. You know, the players like Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies, there's probably 10,000 of those kids that are not even...
That are not in the system.
That are not in the system.
They're getting missed because... They can't afford the 3, 4, 5 grand.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous. And this is something that will never... It's not really spoken about, and it's just kind of... Everyone just gets on with it. Like,
but why was that not a big legacy part of this World Cup? Why was there not a plan in place to try and use this experience? I mean, again, we're just saying that they're probably not going to be at the game, a lot of these kids, but the aspirational aspect of a World Cup I mean, I told the story about being at a game in 1991 that is still so vivid in my memory because I saw a team and a bunch of players come to Glasgow that was like just blew my mind, gave me that inspiration to go and push on. That is not happening in this country. It's so disappointing that the system is preventing young players from excelling and getting to the next level.
Can you imagine a 10-year-old boy or girl that get to go to the game in Toronto? It's not going to be somebody from a poorer background or whatever it will be. And imagine what it does when you watch the game visually and you see a huge moment in their history, because everyone's going to be talking about that first World Cup game, and you get a chance to go and see it. It means it means so much in your life.
You'll never forget it. You'll never forget it.
Ever.
Yeah, that's funny. He was talking about sort of going underneath the turnstiles and getting in. I remember even sometimes they would open the gates, right, with 15 minutes to go in the game, at the end of the game.
Sneak in for the last part of the game.
Just go and see the last 15 or extra time if it's a cup game. I did it once with a cup game. People start to leave at 85 minutes, then there's an equaliser, you get and you see the whole of extra time and penalties.
Yeah, you know, it was.
But that was a completely different era.
Different times. But, I mean, again, we have to make sure that there's some kind of legacy aspect to this World Cup.
The connection
we
to
should be doing more about it.
The kids coming through, that's what it's about. And then we will see a way better Canada side in 10, 15 years' time. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah. You mentioned your chickens.
What's the story?
You lost one.
You don't need to.
You lost another one.
Do we really want to
Yeah.
go?
You said you were going to give the story.
Yeah.
Right. So last
Farmer
Friday.
Kev.
No, honestly, last Friday. So we've lost 2, as you guys know. It's
Yeah, and
been
tragic.
you built an invincible wall that they were never going to get out of or anything would get in.
Yeah. Well, that's the plan.
You put pictures on Instagram. Here's Kevin with
Did
his
your
hands
I
folded.
never did. No, that's still up. It's still going well. It's still strong. Oh, I've built a good structure there, lads. Don't
Didn't
worry about
realise
that.
they could fly off.
Never put a roof in it.
Right.
So what happened?
Friday. Right, my daughter's figure skate on a Friday. We're going to have a different sport now. Anyway, so we were about to. Yeah, it bloody does. Anyway, but but again, that's where football shouldn't be going near those sort of sports, should it? Anyway, so we're about to leave, and all of a sudden, I'm just checking on the chickens, counting up. We're down to 7. We're down to 7. Oh, right. Honestly, so we come back, and I'm gutted. I'm saying, look, my wife, like, we're down to 7 now. Anyway.
You started at 10?
We started at 10, Started at 10. So anyway, day goes by, whatever. I'm in checking on the chickens, and I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway, so we're down to 7 anyway. So yesterday, we're sat at night, beautiful weather yesterday. I'm having a beer, just sat and all of a sudden, we have a bucket in the little chicken pen. It starts to move around. This is genuine, honest to God. It's moving around. I said to my wife, well, she said to me, actually, the chicken, that's moving. What's going on? We're thinking it's another animal that's got in, something like that. Anyway, 2 days, the chicken has been under this bucket for 2 days in the chicken pen. Anyway, pull it off. It was like a miracle.
It got stuck, basically.
It got stuck. It couldn't flick the bucket back off its head. Something's obviously spooked it. It's jumped in this little bucket. It's flipped over its head, and it's moving around. 2 eggs laid under the bucket.
That's brilliant.
Over the 2 days. So there you go.
Happy days.
Yeah,
So back to 8.
We said our prayers. We're back to 8. We're back to 8.
It's brilliant. Great stories.
Yeah.
I like this section.
Jude Bellingham wasn't picked for England. Was that a surprise? Or do you think? I mean, Thomas Tuchel said that he was going with the squad that served him well the time before, but there might be a little bit more between Thomas Tuchel and Jude Bellingham.
He's fit.
Yeah, he's fit. He's been
picking.
playing, I know. But maybe there was an agreement with the club. We know how these things happen. He's still going to get fully match fit.
He didn't say that, though.
No, I
think he would come out and say, well, we've got an agreement with the club.
Yeah,
right?
I was more surprised about Phil Foden, to be honest, because he is playing every week, basically, for Manchester City. So, and he's admitted as well. It's Tuchel's really...
Are they too big a names for Tuchel? Does he want...
He's always liked younger players, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah. I think there could be something in that. We were watching the Villarreal Real Madrid game at the weekend. Tani had a big chance, by the way. So gutted, big chance.
Did so well to get through, didn't he?
Amazing
Just never really
pace.
sorted his feet. Why did he take away his right?
I don't know.
I thought it was on his left.
It's there for him. He almost like we've seen it so often
thought about
from
it
him.
too much.
We've seen it so often from him getting in those positions, and it just doesn't quite happen for him.
He's not instinctive, is he? When he gets there, it's more in his head, isn't he?
Yeah. The goals that he scores just happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
One, not even a touch at times. It's either a header to finish or anyway. But he gets himself in those positions, and it probably is an area that he can look at. But just going back to Bellingham come off the bench, I think, with about 25, 30 minutes, and he looked so good. Just the way he glides across the pitch and the players that he's got around him. He's fit. So Tuchel not to pick him when he's fit, and as you say, doesn't even talk about the fact is that there is an arrangement with Real Madrid. Real Madrid want to keep him back and look after him and monitor him across the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The games are fairly meaningless to England. They're going to be at the World Cup, we know that. I was surprised. And going to your point on Foden, those two are huge players for England, regardless of the form of Foden for England, because he hasn't really hit the heights that we've seen him hit for City in an England jersey. I'm surprised, really, really surprised.
He'll get asked about it this week, though, won't he? He'll get asked by the English media. He'll have to address it. He'll have to come up with a reason.
No other country does that. You know, the big debate around Lamine Yamal now with Spain about this injury that he had going into the last camp and bringing him off the bench when he wasn't quite fit. And Barcelona are disgusted with the Spanish FA and how they've dealt with it. But very few nations, if a player's 50-50, they pick you.
Yeah.
You just get picked because the big nations expect the big players to be playing. Whereas this scenario here with Tuchel not picking the best, Bellingham is the best player. And they're not picking him. I find it amazing.
It was funny with Pochettino last week because he was asked when he named his US squad for this coming window. One of the reporters asked him why Scally and Musa weren't in the lineup. And he said, I don't have to explain that. We're not talking about Lionel Messi, right? He said, I don't tell them why. I don't need to tell you why.
Right.
It turns out Maurice, he doesn't call players or talk to players who are in the squad or not in the squad. He doesn't have any conversation with them about why. And he was basically saying, if you're not in, you know why. Because there are better players that I want right now that are in, and you've got to be at your best. But
and
often
he doesn't have that conversation with the player. He says that
when he leaves players out, he doesn't have any conversation. Even players that were left out of the Gold Cup squad.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake.
Right? Because you hear a lot about Jesse Marsh's, about man management, players together. Even at club level these days, you hear about managers who are now more relational with players than the olden days, when there would be that distance between them. And it would be open communication, but he's very much a case of, if you're in, you're in, and if you're not, I don't need to be spending time telling you why you're not, because as a player, you would know.
I find that very strange.
I find it strange, especially when it's international and you've only got a certain amount of players to choose from.
I know.
And you might have to go back to Scally and Musa at some point.
Musa,
you're trying to build up that relationship. It's weird that he's not gave them a call and explained it. I mean, you can only pick a certain amount of players, so as long as you can explain it, the player usually, whether he likes it or not, accepts it and has some respect for the decision. But when you don't explain it, then you're in your own head and you're thinking about, why am I not in the squad? What have I done? Is it a thing off the field? Is it my performances on the field? I just think it causes a great deal of indecision. Just
looks a little that this has been going on, and you've been around it a little bit, Luke, as well, and you've watched the US a lot more than Stevie and I both have, actually at the games, and I find it bizarre what's happening with that US side. Given the size of the World Cup, they've hired such a high-profile coach to bring in. There's been a lot of disharmony between the players and coach. It's not been working, has it?
So far.
It hasn't.
We'll see. Maybe this window is probably the strongest squad that he's picked.
Yes.
And he is. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. He's very much of the mindset of, I need my best players to be at their best in June.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they need to be left out of this squad because they've just moved or they've just come back from injury, no point me bringing them here for 10 days when they could settle into their new environment, when they could. But now, sort of like the experimentation is almost over. He's looked at all the squad group, and this is what he's got.
I think you're leaving a lot to chance, Kev.
It's even more important to communicate with the players, though, isn't it, then? Because of that mindset of everyone's got to be ready for June. That's what makes it even more bizarre.
I think you're leaving things to chance, Luke. It's too haphazard, the preparation.
Look, okay, so and Pochettino wanted Pulisic to play in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
It basically said you play the two friendlies and the Gold Cup. It's not a pack. It's not a you choose the two friendlies. So Pulisic didn't come in.
Yeah.
But now look at Pulisic.
Yeah.
He's one of the best players in Serie A this season.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He felt he needed that time off to be ready, and he is probably going to be in a better shape and coming off a better season next summer at the World Cup than if he had played in the Gold Cup last summer.
Maybe. We don't know.
No, we don't know.
That's
why we don't know anything.
I mean, at the end of the day...
No, but you're right, though.
Decisions are made, on a whim or whatever, or how a player feels, how the coach feels. But I think the communication and discussing it is the biggest aspect.
Were you ever left out? And if so, would the coach call you? Would you expect the coach to call you?
Internationally, no.
No,
I'm not saying that. No,
he was in every squad all the time.
No. Well, I've still got my world record. I'm looking for my world record for the 66 consecutive games between 99 and 2000.
Is that a world record?
I believe so, but no one's confirming that.
I'm going to research that this week.
I've tried to research it, and people have tried to research it.
Sorry, you think you've got the world record for the most consecutive caps for any nation?
Competitively,
66
caps. For any nation or just for Ireland?
No, for any nation.
Any nation.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, we've got to. I mean, part of the bus has got to.
We'll find out. We'll get Statman Joe on that.
Statman Joe's got to find that out. And then we've got to present you with the Guinness World Record on the show.
A Guinness? Like a pint of Guinness? That would be best.
It is still called
Just give me a pint of Guinness. We don't need the world record. As long as a pint of Guinness there, that'll be nice. No, but in answer, I did. I missed a few squads that we weren't involved in a tournament. So we weren't involved in many tournaments, as it turned out. But if we had a camp or a get together, they weren't competitive games across the summer. Towards the back end, I struggled with my back. So I did have one arrangement one year with Giovanni Trapattoni where I missed games and I was straight back in for the competitive games after that. So in that respect, personally, if I'm Pulisic and there's even a Gold Cup, I know it's maybe not considered globally a huge event. I'd want to play competitively. I'd want to try and win. If I'm playing for my country, I'd want to win. So regardless of the thing with Pulisic, whatever, but When I did miss the summer, I felt better. I did feel better.
Yeah, getting a rest.
I had virtually no rest across the summer, with probably 2-week break from 18, 19, when I was playing under 21 football, to probably about 31, 32.
Yeah.
So there was no rest. And it does take a lot. It takes a lot every year with only a couple of weeks rest across a year. It takes a lot,
So you think he made the right decision?
Well,
maybe.
Well,
because it's more important next summer.
Proof is watching Pulisic this season.
He's been incredible.
I think he's probably. Honestly, I think he's probably in his best form.
Yeah, he is.
Of his career right now. And maybe there's a point to prove as well off the back of criticism that's been levelled at him. You can't underestimate what that means to a player. When someone's hammering you and someone's coming for you, you want to prove everybody wrong.
We know these guys have got a chip on their shoulders about that.
Big time. Yeah. So yeah.
But I think communication is vital, especially in this day and age. And I don't know if Pochettino's getting that right at the minute. It's been tumultuous, let's just say, his reign so far.
Yeah.
And I think to expect everything to come together next summer is highly unlikely.
I know. That's exactly what I think.
Yeah.
To have that mindset of, as long as everybody's right for June, it's a build-up. It's what's going on in between. It's everything around the... And Jesse Marsch, we obviously spoken to Jesse Marsch, has spoken a lot about everything that they're doing in every camp. There's a purpose towards next summer.
Building towards.
Yeah, there's a purpose in every single session that they're doing.
And I completely understand that, right? But on the flip side, he might not have his back line until March or June.
Yeah.
So everything he's doing, obviously, he's trying to get the group together. He's trying to go... But there's still going to be a lot of unknowns for Canada heading into that March window.
Yeah.
When you look at when's Alphonso Davies back, when's Alistair Johnston back, what's going on with Moise Bombito?
You don't know, but they might not come back. They might not come back. So you got to do the work with the players that you've got, because you might be relying on them next summer. You know, we spoke a lot about Bombito in this podcast. You have to have your process of, October, November, March, and then pre-World Cup. It's a whole step-by-step process, and then whatever players you've got at that time, that's who you get given.
Knows exactly what he's doing in November, what he's going to do in March, what he's doing in between the November-March windows.
He just doesn't know who with.
Yeah, who with, that's true.
Just doesn't know who will have.
Who'll be there.
But he has to follow that process. He has to follow exactly what he's going to do. You know, when he gets the get-together in probably January, it's going to be for the MLS-based players, he'll know exactly what he's going to do with those players.
But this is what I'm saying about Scally and Musa. This is why you got to communicate, because what happens if Dest or whoever's going to play full-back, Arson, whatever, they're not there, and then you got to go back to Joe Scally and he's got a chip in his shoulder, or there's animosity there between them.
Of US's 11, if you pick an 11 now for the US, you kind of be able to pick their 11. There will be one or two of those players that will not be available in June. It's highly likely that will happen.
I think you got to pick up the phone even if you're the player as well, or send the WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I need a conversation.
We used to get some.
I think it's important.
You got to do it.
I know.
Every Monday morning, if you were dropped, you'd be in, and you were never dropped.
No, I was. Of course, I was.
You're
dropped
right in there on a Monday to ask the manager,
exactly
why am I not playing?
Did you hear his stories last week about the abuse that he got from fans?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Absolutely shocking.
But it was his own fans.
Oh, well. I used to get abused by my own fans as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, we did. That happened.
That was shocking.
I'll give you something here, though. It was. We'll talk about that. I want to get more into that a little bit with you, a little bit about how insular it becomes when you are getting that abuse, and your mind and the game can never leave you. When you get home, you're tortured when you get home as well after abuse and things like this. But I'll just bring up the text messages. We had the legendary Italian coach Giovanni Trapattoni. When he came in, this guy's going to be like amazing. And he was so basic, Trapattoni, and everything he used to do, the structure.
Were you disappointed?
No, I wasn't. I actually loved him for that, because on the training ground, when you're working on set pieces, he'd come out with us. Trap was probably in his 70, 75 at that stage, and he'd be out grabbing your shirt. Like, this is how you mark from corners. We watch a zonal system now. Trapattoni would never have a zonal system. Man-to-man marking. You go up against you grab him.
Physical.
You stop him. And he'd say to us, go on. He used to call me Kilbane. Kilbane, you run.
The Italian Kevin Kilbane.
When you run, he'd go up against you and he'd stop you. Like, he was 75 years of age, and he'd just go. And I would quite towered over. He'd just go, nail you. Like, you go. See, that's how you defend. But going back to the text messages, he'd send you a text after a game or before a game, and it would be translated we had a translator with him, and he actually didn't need it. His English was better than many suggested. He knew exactly what he was saying. But you get a text message from him. A little bit would be distorted with it. I saw your game Saturday, saw you play, whatever. Good, I'll see you next week. Or, you know, just that nice message like that. It was to have that little bit of communication from him. A legend like that as well, an ultimate legend.
I think it's more important for international managers as well, when they've got less touch points, to try and create these relationships. And Jesse's talked to us about it a lot, about these relationships, how important it is. And to see Pochettino, who's at the other end of that spectrum, who I always thought was a great guy, I still do. I've got a lot of respect for him as a coach, but I just think this whole reign as a US men's national team manager has been so weird.
I know.
I don't know what's going on in his head. He's just not getting the culture, Kev, is he?
Liam Miller spoke recently as well about Jesse Marsch. He's been to Jesse Marsch's house and things like this. You know, all these sort of went to Liam Miller's, I think it was. So this communication has to happen, you know, especially with the injured boys. Can you imagine mentally Moise Bombito now in the position he's in? He needs everybody around him now, that support. And I imagine that Marsch will be 100% making those calls, the text messages. It's vital. Vital.
We've got to ask the main man, because he speaks to them on a regular basis. What is he
like?
Him. He's a great guy.
He is. You know what?
Is he struggling with the culture?
I don't think so. I think he's just got very set ideas that maybe aren't the same ideas as everybody's used to. He's got a way of doing things, and he's got a plan, and he's got a great group of people around him, that his staff that he's had for a long time. Maybe it's different because it's international football. He doesn't want to, you know, when he was back in a club, he doesn't want to be explaining his decisions all the time to everybody. But I think the problem is he hasn't had the results yet. He hasn't been able to show on the pitch.
The real top-level performances as well.
What are they? He's changed now to a back three in the last window, and it looks like he might do that going forward. It might work for the personnel he's got, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens moving forward, and the November window especially, and then obviously into March.
Who's he got in November, Luke?
Paraguay and Ecuador.
Guys, we always compare Canada and the US.
Moise Caicedo is probably the best midfielder in the Premier League this season. Outstanding, but
we always compare Canada and the US.
Not Paraguay and Ecuador. Ecuador's this window. Ecuador, Australia this window.
Oh, sorry.
It's Paraguay, Uruguay.
Yeah.
So some decent games.
Pulisic, the most informed player in CONCACAF.
Yes.
Agree?
Yeah.
Tyler Adams, best midfielder.
Outstanding.
And Chris Richards, the best centre-back.
Yeah.
So they've still got the players. They're strong.
Yeah.
They've just not quite played at their full potential yet under Mauricio Pochettino. But if it's coming, the US could be quite a challenge for anybody at the World Cup.
It's just the mentality.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to, isn't it?
I wish you'd changed your name to Kilbane earlier on in your career. He would have made millions more, wouldn't he, on transfer fees if he was
Long
Kilbane?
hair and, you know,
long hair, Kilbane, hair like Stevie.
Yeah, he used to read the team out. He'd read the team out like this. So I'm trying to do it in the broken Italian
Every week there's an accent.
Oh, it was great though. It was great. And he used to read the team out. He'd just call everyone by the surname. Right. Apart from one. So he'd go, two. Right. We had two players. And he'd name the team, so I'm just trying to go in the head. He'd go, we are Given in goal, right back, Finan, Kilbane, left back, Dunn, O'Shea, midfield, Whelan, Andrews, Magidi, Damien Doe. We have Doyle and Robbie. That's what that's the only two players he knew. Our two best players.
You just said Andrews. Keith Andrews?
Keith Andrews,
Let's get him on the pod.
Yeah. Keith will come on. Hopefully get Keith on, maybe one day,
He's having, it's been a strange start from at Brent. It was always going to be.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, losing players as well. It's tough.
Yeah.
Anyway, there will be a special Park the Bus following Canada's games.
Yep.
Special Park the Bus Friday night.
Late night
Park the Bus.
It'll be a late one. Kevin and I will be a little tired.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like after the show as well. We needed Luke in, but anyway, they are great. They're great. They're great to do,
Okay, so make sure you are tuning in Friday night after the Canada game, and then again after the Colombia game, special Park the Bus. And then
big week. I can't wait. I'm really excited. Yeah. There's something special about these international windows now.
I know. They are great.
It's a good buzz.
Real good games, and you know everything's riding on these games for the summer. We took about every window so vital.
I mean, the glamour one is Colombia, but I'm really looking forward to Australia. I actually think it's going to be a real competitive match. I'm excited to see how Canada do in that kind of game against a team that want to beat them as much as they want to beat the opposition.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good.
This is Park the Bus with Stephen Caldwell, Kevin Kilbane and Luke Wileman.